For the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they lost 2-1 to Egypt in the pre-2025 Africa Cup of Nations friendly at the Cairo International Stadium on Tuesday. Head coach Eric Chelle fielded a largely experimental side in the game. Mahmoud Saber gave Egypt the lead 2 minutes before the half-hour mark. And of course, for the Super Eagles, they got the equalizer through Chidozie Awaziem late in the first half. Now, Awaziem nodded home Zaidu Sanusi's free kick after the Pharaohs failed to clear their lines. Egypt seized the initiative early in the second half and restored the lead through Mostafa Mohammed. Now, the Super Eagles will travel to Fez on Thursday for the Africa Cup of Nations. Now, we've got Calvin Onwuka, who joins us, a publisher for ACLSports. Thank you very much for joining today on the show. We saw the game between Nigeria and Egypt yesterday. Of course, it was a friendly game, wanting to try out new players, new tactics, and all of that. But still, not all of the new players featured in that game. And one of the goalkeepers that we expected to feature in that game was not even part of the show.
Thanks for having me. Listen, that's a pre-tournament friendly. That friendly means nothing, truly. I don't think it's something that we should even think about in terms of what will happen in Morocco when the tournament starts. I remember when we won the AFCON in 2013. I was with the team in Faro, Portugal, and the last friendly they played was against a club side. It was against a club side in Brown Sporting Complex. It was against the club side, and it's nothing. That was I was tweetcasting that game live that day all over Nigeria because it wasn't shown on TV. It didn't mean anything. Honestly, as far as I was concerned, it meant nothing. We ended up going. We drew that game, or did we win? But we ended up going to South Africa and won the AFCON. I really don't think anybody should put too much store into that result against Egypt.
All right, Calvin, why you've downplayed the friendly or the pre-tournament friendly as not to raise any concerns, but Nigerians are saying, if you look at Eric Chelle's kind of setup, diamond formation, he seems not to even understand how to utilize or best utilize these players. And on the day of Tuesday, we saw his experimentation once again at the back. Chidozie Awaziem was there, right back, Bright Osai Samuel. We saw Nandi, the man from Belgium who plays in the midfield, and some of the experiments, especially with Onwuka. I mean, going into the tournament, should we be scared? I mean, looking at what these players gave. Yes, some may not play to their best of strength, but we played against an Egyptian side that had some of the players based in the Egyptian league or the African league, and yet our players kind of struggled, to even string passes or to even connect in the final third. And we're going to play competitively in the next few days.
Listen, all these worries are valid. They're valid going into the tournament, and especially because of the way the Super Eagles played in that last qualifier against DRC. We, after taking the lead and after being totally on top in the first 25 minutes, for the rest of the game, we were atrocious, actually. We were really bad. And how we dragged the game into penalties, I would never know. However, Eric Chelle has to be prepared to do something different. If you remember, none of us expected Joseph Peseiro was going to go into the last AFCON with 3 centre backs and with his wing backs, and he adjusted the formation of the team during starting that tournament. So I think at some point Eric Chelle will have to tweak something. We have to tweak something in the sense that we don't have a dominant, experienced centre back anymore. So going to 3 centre backs would probably give us more bodies in midfield.
Yeah.
I hate to want to be the one to tell a coach how to do his job, But my job is probably to analyze what he has done or what happens after the match. But I think if he takes a critical look at how we have played, especially that game against DRC Congo, when he realizes that he does not have the athleticism anymore to play in a flat midfield pivot.
All right.
He might just decide that, listen, we need to be a bit more compact in midfield, and to achieve that, we will need 3 centre backs so that we have more bodies in midfield. That for me is where it's a big call he has to make. And then I think we've wasted Paul Onuachu. You watch him when he was in Belgium. You watch him now in Turkey, and you just have to ask yourself, how on earth do you have a player so powerful, so dominant in the air, and yet we cannot decide that, listen, once this guy is on the pitch, get the ball wide, get your wide forwards to actually act as wingers this time, and cross the ball for him and cross it early. There's nobody can touch him. So if we're going to take him to a tournament, you can't take him to a tournament without having plans to use him. So that's where my own worry will be. If we're taking on Onuachu, you have to have plans to use him. He and Victor Osimhen are powerful in the air. So we need to, even if it means us having to bypass the midfield in our plans, let's bypass the midfield, get the ball wide quickly, and get the ball into the box for these 2 players to attack. We've got goals in the team. It is how to get the balls. It's how to create the chances for these strikers. So the quickest way, football hasn't changed. Forget all these Guardiola disciples. Football hasn't changed. You score more goals with more balls in the box. With more numbers in the box. I had to go this way. I remember when you watch Aston Villa's winning goal against Arsenal in the Premier League. What struck me every time I look at that goal was, it wasn't a set piece, but Villa had at least 5 players in the Arsenal box. So when the ball fell, it fell to somebody who could score. If we don't get the ball into the box and we don't get numbers into the box, a lot of the time, what I found frustrating in the last 6-7 matches of the Super Eagles has been, a lot of the time, once we have the ball, it has only Victor Osimhen in the box. And if Osimhen is the one has dropped to link up play, there's nobody going beyond him and going into the box. Once we don't have numbers in the box, how are we going to score goals? So for Chelle and his backroom staff, then we need to find, if it means the shortest route to the box, get the ball wide. And cross the ball, because we've got numbers. We've got the physical players that can thrive on crosses.
All right, looking forward to that tournament, and hopefully Nigeria will do right by the fans and go all the way to at least bring the trophy home, and we'll have a successful 2025 heading into 2026, if the back door works or not. I know we had to drag you out from your busy schedule to join us on the show today. I'd say thank you very much, Calvin Onwuka, for joining us on the show today. Thank you.